Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about how I lived in New York City off of $50 a week. So I am just gonna give you guys like a few little examples of how I was able to save money and just literally look back how freaking crazy I was that I was only spending like $50 a week living in New York City. It was insane. Literally 2 words, guys: fucking psychopath. That's what I was. A literal crazy person. So for those of you who haven't been to my Instagram, I've been asking questions and doing polls and asking my followers there what they want to see. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Veronica Lynn. Since I'm just starting my channel out, I'm filming this in a different room, as you guys can see. So I'm gonna try out a couple different places around my house and see which one I like the best. So when I was 20 years old, I was a junior in college and I was studying interior design. I was like, you know what? I want to see if maybe I could ever live in New York. And it wasn't somewhere I kind of always saw myself going to Chicago just because it was where I was from. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I might as well try it. It was kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, well, let me just see like where it goes. And then I got a really great internship there that I was super excited about. So now I was like, okay, got to make this happen. So when I told my parents that I wanted to go to New York for the summer, the previous summers, I just came back to the small town from where I'm from, up in the suburbs of Chicago, and would just kind of work and live at home and save money for the following school year. So they told me, they said, listen, if you want to go to New York, it's a great time in your life to do it, but we are not paying for anything. Like, you have to do it all on your own. So it was definitely a little daunting at first, but I knew that I could definitely make it work. So after I got my internship, then I had to start kind of putting all the pieces together and figure out like, where am I gonna live? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, figuring all these things out. So I got really lucky actually, because of that is, I think, something in Manhattan that will definitely get most people. It's just how much the cost of rent is, or if you're on vacation, like at a hotel or an Airbnb. I mean, it can literally just be like, it's astronomical for like a tiny amount of space. It's so expensive. And I knew this going in, and I was lucky. My internship was paid. I think I was getting paid like $18 an hour. And you know, it wasn't under the table. I was like getting taxes taken out and everything like that. So was not a ton of money, but again, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna make this work. I wanna be in Manhattan. I wanna try this out. So I had to work with it. Luckily enough, one of my good friends that I went to high school with was going to college in New York, and he told me, he said, I'm going to be traveling all summer, so you can just sublet for me. So it worked out super easy because I was friends with him and I know I could trust him, and like, I wasn't going to get ripped off or anything. So that was really great. I did live out in Bed-Stuy, is what the neighborhood is called. It's in Brooklyn. I'm sure you guys like know what Brooklyn is. And it's a little bit, I mean, it was definitely kind of like an area in transition. It was like, there was cute like bougie restaurants on one street, and then the next street was like homeless people. So it was like definitely like a little interesting. I'd never really like lived in a place like that, but I actually really enjoyed it, and it was perfect at the time because my rent was like, it was like $800 a month, which is, for New York, is like nothing. It's like as cheap as you can possibly get. So I know all you guys are watching saying, how the hell did you live in Manhattan off of $50 a week? And I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, and to this day I don't really know how I did it. So I will kind of like break it down to you guys, like how I realized that I was only spending $50 a week. So basically, when I moved to the city, I knew the following semester I was going to be traveling, I was going to be studying abroad, and my parents also made that very clear. They said, you know, we'll pay for your school expenses, but we're not going to pay for like traveling or anything like that. And I knew I had to save money because I talked to other kids that had gone on these exchange programs, and they're like, oh, you know, traveling, it costs a lot of money. And I met someone who's told me, oh yeah, I spent $8,000 in 4 months on traveling. So I was like, okay, I need to save. So when I was in New York, I was really all about saving money. So since I was making, like I said, it was like 18 bucks an hour, after taxes and stuff, each of my paychecks I think were like, they were $1,000 for every 2 weeks. So I made about $2,000 a month, and I was there for 3 months. It's like $6,000 in total. My rent was about, it was $800. So I spent, you know, approximately like $2,500, $3,000 in rent. And then at the end of the summer, I had $2,000 saved. So that means for 3 months on myself, I pretty much spent, minus the rent, I spent $1,000. So that's like $300 a week. Also too, I just want to preface this video by saying I would never live like this now. I would not recommend anyone live like this for a long period of time. I was only in the city for a few months, and that's kind of how I got away with it. Trust me, when I left, I was like dying, and that I live there now, a few years later, I'm like, what the actual hell was I thinking? So one of the major ways that I was able to just live off $50 a week to save a ton of money while I was there was definitely food. Food is so easy to just like go overboard in New York. It's like you can pay $20 for like a cheeseburger and fries. It's ridiculous. Like, I'll never forget my first day at my internship. I worked in a Flatiron district, and I just went to like grab a salad at this little like cute little place that I saw underneath my office. It was like kind of cafeteria style, you know, you go in, you pick out what you want. I don't even know if I had any meat. I think it was literally just vegetables, and I went to go pay, and they were like, it's $16. I'm like, for this baby salad? I'm like, I'm like, I will be broke, and I spend $16 on every meal here. So what I did is I started asking my coworkers, I'm like, you know, where do you guys go just to like get like a cheap, like easy lunch? And there was a place across the street from my office. It was called Pizza Paradise. They had like this really good salad bar. They had like everything you could ever want, like tons of chicken, like different types of meats, like anything in the salad, like all the different dressings, like pretty much like the works. And it was like $6 for like a big ass salad. So literally almost every single day I would go into this sketchy little place called freaking Pizza Paradise and getting my salad, like loving it. The guy like definitely knew my order by the end. So that is something that I would definitely like recommend if you're traveling in like a big city, or if you're in New York or somewhere like that. Like, get advice if you can, like get advice from people that live there, because they definitely, you know, have tried out different things, and they know like sketchy places, they can definitely be sketchy, and they can be like not good, and like the food can be gross, or like they can be really good and cheap, and you can actually like eat better there than you do at like a bougie place. Like in bigger cities, the money you're usually spending at like a nice place is just like the ambiance, like the freaking avocado toast to come out so cute so you can take pictures, when like really it's like nice to have like every once in a while, but not eating that every day. Also, for those people that know me, they know that I love junk food, and when I was in New York, I definitely took advantage of all of the street food. A lot of times when I was leaving work, I would literally just grab, they have these things in New York, like the pizza there. I would go to this place, it was like, what was it? You get 2 slices of pizza and a can of soda for $3. Like literally $3, and like a whole, like 2 huge, like bigger than my head, huge pieces, like for $3. Like, and and it wasn't bad. Like it's good. It's like just thin, typical New York pizza. And they have one of those almost on every block. So I was definitely grabbing that all the time. There was a deli a little farther down the street of my office that had, I would go in there and get like clam chowder. I would get like a bowl of soup. It was like $3. So just finding like the little places, kind of like the holes in the wall, and just being like, just kind of eating that regularly. And I would definitely like here and there, like I'd be hungover on a Friday, I'd go to Shake Shack, and sometimes I would like do Chipotle and stuff like that. But I think it's just all about kind of like balancing and finding stuff, like I said, like the salad bar, the soup, like you can definitely find stuff wherever you are that's good, and it's not that expensive. So this is like so bad and embarrassing. But another huge way that I saved money when I lived in New York was the public transportation. Your girl took the subway. When I say everywhere, I mean literally everywhere. Like, and I think that's another huge thing that people, especially when you're visiting, you just jump in a cab, or like now with Uber, you just call your Uber, and it can definitely be reasonable. But I lived out in Brooklyn. I mean, when I commuted into the city, Brooklyn is considered the city, but it's not like main Manhattan. It would take me an hour and 15 minutes. It was a 20-minute walk from where I lived to the subway, another 45 minutes on the subway, and then like a 5 to 10 minute walk when I got off. So you could definitely say I probably spent more time on that subway train than I did sleeping. So just being really good about taking the subway into work, definitely. I mean, I think it costs you like $130 a month, and you can get anywhere with it. Like when I'm in New York, I'm literally talking anywhere. Some like when you're out, kind of like in Queens or Brooklyn, sometimes you need to walk a little bit farther, but you're able to get everywhere. And like, I was taking it 4 times a day, so like one day, like it comes down to like being almost less than $1 like per ride. It's crazy. And let me just tell you, like, if you can do the subway in New York, you can do it anywhere. Like, I've taken public transportation in Tokyo, Paris, like, London, like, plenty of other cities. I love New York, but I have to say it's probably the worst. It's definitely outdated. And, oh my gosh, the worst. I was there in the summertime. I would come downstairs, like, you have to go under for the subway. And it's so hot down there. Like, I would be literally dripping sweat. It was insane. I was so crazy about literally saving money when I was there. I would actually even take the subway when I went out. So I would be like going out at night. So I would take the subway, did it back to work, back to and from work, come home, get ready, turn right back around. I was so crazy about it. I would have like my like hot going out outfit clothes on, and then I would wear t-shirts over it so I didn't get eye fucked on the subway. Crazy and really embarrassing thing that I used to do is when you go out in New York, you have to have heels on. So I would literally bring like my freaking 6-inch heels, like my obnoxious like hoe heels out, and I would wear my little sandals, and I would have like my purse, and I would wear my sandals like it was a 20-minute walk. Who's gonna do that in your freaking hoe heels? Like, no. So I would walk in my sandals, I would take the subway, and then as soon as I would come out into Manhattan, I would take the shirt off. I had my clothes underneath it, so I like was not getting naked, even though it probably wouldn't surprise anyone in the city, in the subway. I would like take off the t-shirt, I would put the freaking heels on, out to the club, and put the sandals and my t-shirt back in my purse. Like, literally did that so many times, and I have to tell you, it saved my freaking feet. Like I said, living in Bed-Stuy, it was super cute. It was definitely like a transitioning neighborhood, but it was like 2 streets away from the project. So like sometimes I would walk like to go to the grocery store, and I would be like a little sketchy. But and I used to and typically when I was leaving, when I would go out at night and I would leave to come home, sometimes I would literally take the subway home in my going out clothes, like tits out, short skirt, at 3 in the morning on the subway. And I can honestly say that I never had any issues. Would I recommend that to anyone doing it alone, especially as a woman? Hell no. But I think as long as you're able to kind of just like, you're not like, you know what's going on, you know, you're not too drunk or anything. Again, I shockingly never had any issues doing that. I actually would get harassed more on the street in Manhattan, like in Soho and like all the really nice areas, or, you know, like East Village, than I ever did when I lived out in Brooklyn. So don't get me wrong, I would definitely take Ubers like when I was there. I mean, there's sometimes you have to. I would be coming home at like 3 in the morning on like a Tuesday, and I'm like, I cannot be bothered to go sit on a freaking subway. And sometimes you have to wait. Like sometimes you'd have to wait down there for like 15-20 minutes late at night for another train to come. So I'm like, I cannot be bothered. And New York, they have like most like big cities now, they have like Uber Pool, stuff like that. So I would always do that. And sometimes you got nice people in there. Like sometimes I like met people that like we were like born in the same place, like really crazy. But then I'd also meet like I was also get some weird people who like we'd have to pull over every 5 minutes so they could throw up. So definitely hit or miss, but I used to use that all the time. For those of you that knew me a few years ago when I was interning in New York, or have been following me since then, you know that I was going out all the time, like a literal psychopath. Like I would party, like I would be out till 3 in the morning on a Tuesday and have to come home and get 4 hours of sleep and wake up the next day and go to a full day of work. I mean, I couldn't function unless I had like 4 cups of coffee minimum. It was so bad. But I think definitely another thing in New York is like you want to enjoy it. So a way that I kind of helped me save money while I was living there is just like really reaching out to a lot of people and just going out alone, because I didn't have any girlfriends when I first moved there. So just going out alone and meeting people, and like when you meet people in New York, it's so much easier to kind of like network. And I became really good friends with club promoters, and they just bring you out for free because they want kind of the tables to be lively. And mostly it's because, you know, you're a girl. You get to do this. But I've been out at tables where girls can bring their guy friends, like the promoters will bring their guy friends. Like, you definitely don't just have to be a pretty girl. I mean, it's for sure easier, but, and a lot of times they bring you out to dinner before, so you would literally get like a free dinner. Swear to God, I lived off these free promoter dinners. Like, they were like, oh, I ever ate. So you would get dinner, and then you go out to the club, and then you just get like free, they would have free bottle service at the table because they want, like, you know, the club to like look more fun for the people that are going in and getting bottle service. So that was something I used to do all the time. And when I first got there, I loved it. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, you're definitely packed in with a bunch of other girls. The alcohol is very shitty, but 21-year-old little psycho me, all over it, loving every second. Like, the fact that I used to rip it till like 3 in the morning at the club and then go to work the next day, it actually gives me a headache thinking about it right now. But another way that I was able to save so much while I lived in New York is, I think when you're in your city, there's definitely a lot of stuff that you can do that is expensive, but then there's also so many cool things that you can do that are not very expensive. Like, I used to spend my days, like my Sundays, sometimes I would just, go to art museums, different art museums like the Guggenheim or the Met. The Met, you don't even really have to pay to get into. They do donations, so you can choose $3, $5, $10, $20, whatever you want to put in. Or like some of the best things to do in New York, like they don't even cost a lot of money. It's just like going to Central Park with your friends when it's nice out and just laying out, bringing a bottle of wine or bringing whatever and just laying out like in the field and just kind of hanging out and chilling there, drinking. Like, you don't have to go to like an expensive bar all the time to have fun. The High Line is free. Like this beautiful, for those people who don't know, it's a beautiful, it's an old, sorry, I'm trying to think of how to describe it, like a raised platform for a train that they were no longer using. They turned it into like this beautiful park, and it's right along the river on the west side, so that's beautiful. There's just like so many different things that you can do. You can go to Williamsburg and walk around by the water. There's so many different cool things that you can go and see there that's really cheap. So basically, moral of the story, how I managed to live in New York off literally $50 a week. Again, would never recommend this for anyone, but I do think it's kind of interesting to point out, like, there are ways that you can travel, or you can go visit other cities, or you could spend a few months in another city, and like, you don't have to go into debt over it. You don't have to like spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like, again, like, now that I live there, I don't know how I spent all this money. I'll see my credit card bill and I'm like, how did I spend that much money? But it's definitely, it's an experience, and there are, like, if you really stick to it, like, there's ways to kind of spend less but still get such a great experience out of the city. Like, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would have done it the exact same way. Me, little friggin' 21-year-old nugget, raging at the clubs, loving the free dinners, eating my little tiny Pizza Paradise salad bar, sleeping on the train, and running back and forth off the subway with my shoes in my purse. I mean, that's literally how I did it. Complete psychopath. Again, like I said, look back, I don't think I could do it like that again. So I hope you guys enjoyed just a little bit of me like making fun of myself and how the hell I used to live like that. But like I said, I hope you guys liked it. I'm gonna keep posting on my Instagram things that stuff I want to talk about, see what you guys think. I also got a lot of votes for do's and don'ts of DMing, which I think will be a really fun one because I've had some crazy DMs. So I think that's what I'm going to talk about next week. But make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Veronica Lynn, and you guys subscribe to my channel. Bye guys!